Uber, meanwhile, announcing major layoffs this morning and the foregoing of pay by CEO Dara Khosrowshahi just almost a week after Lyft made a similar move. Deirdre Bosa has the latest. Deirdre?
Hey, John, that's right. Uber is laying off 3,700 employees, and that accounts for about 14% of its total workforce. In a filing, the company says that will likely result in $20 million in severance and benefit costs. But this wasn't unexpected, guys. Ride-sharing bookings, we know that they have fallen off a cliff. Both Uber and Lyft have withdrawn their guidance. And this business model, even in the most robust times, it burns through billions of dollars annually. Lyft has laid off about 17% of its workforce. There's also scooter startup Lime has laid off about 13% of its staff. Yesterday, of course, Airbnb announcing cuts of about 25% of its workforce. And WeWork, of course, whose troubles started long before coronavirus, is expected to make more job cuts in the coming months.
Oh, look, another video where Josh talks about corporate and people getting fired and let go and all that stuff. But we're going to look at it from a slightly different angle today. I'm not going to be like, corporation's terrible and this is so bad and blah, blah, blah. You should have a side hustle, because you guys already know that you should have a side hustle and that your job is not secure and no job is secure, and it's no more secure than working for yourself. And I'd like to propose something to you that you may not have considered before. You should consider the industry that you're working in and what that industry does, like Lyft and Uber. If people can't move around, those industries are going to die. If you're making software that supports tree cutting and people can no longer cut trees, well, then they're probably not going to need your software. What happens a lot of the time with software developers or people just trying to get their first tech job is that they don't consider the industry that they're working in. They just say, oh, a job? Oh, wow, look at that money. Look at that. Look at that. Wow, that's just crazy. Look at this offer letter. Look at these benefits. And they don't actually consider the big picture. And I think this is a fault that a lot of people fall into, because a job is a job and you just want to work, and it's my first job, and oh, look at this money, but you're not actually considering, again, the big picture. But why would you, right? Your job is to just be a developer. However, this will help you in the long run if you can consider what you're actually building, what the end goal is, how the company is making money so that they can give you that money. You should consider this, and that will affect the trajectory, or at least have some impact on the relative security of your job. What would need to happen in the outside world for this company to no longer make money? And of course, I understand that Uber and Lyft, and that's a long shot. Who would have thought a virus would shut everything down and that nobody would be able to Uber and Lyft anymore, right? Of course, that's, for that example, that's kind of out there, and your job probably, you would have never thought of something like a global pandemic going around stopping your job, but you could still go with this same thought process for other jobs. If you're working in some industry where you're making internal software that supports some sort of manufacturing, right? Well, let's say that for some reason they can't get the parts to do manufacturing anymore and there's no more manufacturing. Well, that's going to trickle down to you, and you're probably not going to have any software to make for the manufacturing because they can't manufacture anymore. Everything is a big picture. Everything has a trickle down effect, and then I would suggest trying to make job decisions based on that. Right now, things like Amazon, this is like Jeff Bezos' wet dream right now, dude. Everyone's at home. Everyone needs Amazon delivery. Grubhub is doing really great right now. DoorDash, right? You got to think about it. Everyone's at home, so those industries are doing fantastic. But if your industry depends on people moving around or manufacturing, then you have to consider the factors that would ever affect that, which is eventually going to affect you, because your CEO, at the end of the day, doesn't really care about you. They care about the company mission, or if it's an IPO, if it's a public company, then they care about the profit margins and the investors and the board and getting profits. They don't actually care about you. I mean, they might try to be like, well, should we give our developers a little bit of money just to, see if we can keep them? They don't think that. Like, maybe at smaller companies, but at bigger companies, they're not thinking about, well, what about John in the back-end development department? Oh man, he's got like 2 kids, 1 kid on the way. He's got a sick grandma, his wife, and he's got a lot. They're not thinking about that. They don't care about that. They care about the company mission, which is whatever's going to make them the most money. So having said that, there's a couple things I'd like to look at with that video that you just saw there. One thing that's kind of a meme is when, well, the CEO is foregoing pay, Josh, he must care. First of all, I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who could forego a salary that's not already loaded. You got to think, how is this person able to forego a salary? You want to know why? It's because he's already got assets. He already has a bunch of money in stock. He already probably has like a bunch of buildings, a bunch of other physical material assets that he's put a bunch of money into, and he's got a bunch of cash flow. He doesn't need his salary. But from the public perception of it, it's like, oh wow, look, he's not taking his $300,000 salary, he's putting it back into the company. Wow, he must really love us. That's not the case. So it's kind of a funny meme whenever you see a CEO foregoing his salary to support the company, except for like a couple cases where it actually mattered. Most of the time, they're just rich people trying to look like they care about you in the public eye because they already have a bunch of money. Don't buy into it. Another thing here is that the CEO of Uber put out a tweet. This is not a reflection of the employees' efforts or contributions to getting us where we are. As a service that everyone associates with movement and earnings opportunities, we wouldn't be here without their efforts, and I want to personally thank them for everything they've done for Uber. I want to personally thank them for everything they've done for Uber. Yet up here at the top, he just calls them Team Uber. This is not a personal thank you. This is just all for show. He goes on to say, we have worked hard to put together generous severance packages with a longer period of healthcare coverage to help provide a bridge. And we're also supporting EXTs whose roles are affected by today's decision. In the news clip, it says that them laying off all of these people is going to cost them $20 million. But when you do the math of $20 million divided by 3,700 people, that would be $5,405 per person. And now that's the total cost of the severance packages. So we're talking the extended healthcare coverage. So you can just go ahead and deduct like a few million of that 20 million, like maybe even half of the 20 million just going to pay for the healthcare coverage. So now you got $10 million divided by 3,700 people, which would then bring down your money to like 2,000. And then some people might get more and some people might get less. It just depends on your role. Days like this are brutal. I'm truly sorry that we are doing this, just as I know that we have to do this. And while it's easier said than done, we have to keep our heads down and keep executing, because that and nothing less is what will keep Uber going and get us to the other side. Whatever, he's just placating. This is all just public feel-good nonsense. Let's go to LinkedIn real quick. We got Raymond here. I pulled up Raymond in another post. He talked about Bird. He used to work at Bird, and then I think he quit or he got let go. But anyways, he's got a new job now. So congratulations, Raymond, for getting a new job and not being afraid to talk crap about these companies. Uber is also investing or trying to invest another $170 million into Lime, which is a scooter company. Here's the thing. Why wouldn't they use the $170 million to keep everyone employed? Why would they instead try to spend $170 million and invest that into Lime? Clearly they've decided that if they keep these people employed, it's just not worth it. So, when you read that tweet before that says, we got to do what we got to do, we got to cut our costs, we got to come together, but low-key, I'm dropping like almost $250 million trying to buy this scooter company real quick. But sorry that you got let go. It's just, I don't understand what the deal with scooters is anyways. It's just really not that. It's really, they're nice, they're kind of novel, but unless you live in like a big city, the whole scooter company is just really not, it's not really that pragmatic, I guess. Also, Lyft let go of a bunch of people. Lyft let go 17% of its company, but it was actually less people. Chief executive, whatever, announced the difficult news regarding the furloughing of 5% of Lyft staff and reducing salaries for 3 months. See, that, at least that seems like a little bit more fair. Lyft doesn't have an investment plan, so that's why you can see the difference in CEOs actually trying to value their employees and keep them around versus someone who's just leveraging a social situation to get the most profit. And again, whatever, that's what companies do. They make the most profit, but there's a clear difference. Reducing salary and scheduling furloughs, that's what Lyft is doing. They're letting go people for like a month, and then they're bringing you back, and then they're letting this next group of people go for like a month, and then they're bringing you back, and then they're doing it like that. That's how you can tell the difference between a CEO that cares and a CEO that doesn't actually care. Lyft said that pay cuts would be tiered so that senior executives would forego 30% of their salary. Vice president level employees gave up 20%, and other salaries for employees see a 10% drop in pay. So I think that's kind of fair. Again, you can see that the higher people making more money, they're taking a bigger pay cut. and the people that are making less money are taking a lower pay cut. There's a lot of food for thought in this video. If you enjoyed it, click thumbs up, click that little subscribe button, click the bell next to it so you can get notified when stuff like this happens, and I want to talk about it and give you guys an understanding of how the corporate world works. And as I said before, just try to think ahead. Stop being so blindsided by the salary and this cool tech stack. Like, the company is doing something with that tech stack, and you should go 1 step ahead or 2 steps or 10 steps ahead and see what they're actually doing. Stay big picture. Don't just get caught up in the little tiny details of like, oh, well, do we use tabs or spaces? Like, it doesn't matter if they don't have money to pay you. Enough of that. I think you guys get it. Yeah, that's it. I'm a little bit tan today. I've been paragliding and getting a pilot's license, and I've been outside a lot, and it's been fantastic. And thank you so much for the support, and maybe I'll make some videos about that. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.